Hello everybody, my name is The Watching Relic, and today we are going to be finally reviewing Faevo. Hopefully this review is coming out a little sooner than usual. I don't think so though, mainly because I already shot a review but then decided that I needed to reshoot it because the first one was terrible. It was one of my reviews where I shoot it before I've posted the slideshow, and then somehow don't post it immediately after. Why does it take me so long? Yeah, happened with my MOC Tika, and the problem with that is that, you know, if I film this before the slideshow is even out, then I just don't know what anybody thinks of the MOC, and what I say might not be consistent with that. With Tika, I was pretty open with the fact that I was, like, expecting a very mixed critical response, and the response was much better than I anticipated. But with this MOC, I pretty much straight up just said, yeah, he's really mediocre, and I was really self-critical the whole time, which is a little inconsistent with the fact that you guys seem to like this for the most part. You seem to like this guy. I'm really thankful for that. I don't see why. Not to sound like too much of just a cynical, overly self-critical type person, but when it comes to my mocking, that's the type of person I am. So when it comes to inspirations for this MOC, to just start off with what we usually talk about here, the inspiration for this MOC I'm actually going to get to later in the video when we talk about the torso specifically, because there is a random, slightly humorous story behind this MOC's creation, but for now, let's just get into the build part by part. Well, no, the section by section. Yeah, you can't just use part in the colloquial meaning when you're talking about Bionicles, man. This ain't no frickin' tutorial. So here are the feet. They are protector feet. I love protector feet. I cannot get enough of these glorious frickin' pieces. Are they not just the best? I mean, they don't work for everything. They're pretty small, but in general, I think small feet are preferable to the gigantic feet that a lot of, you know, a Nika build era type stuff had, and that, you know, get used on a lot of MOCs still to this day. I dig this type of look. Also, there's the gun. The gun's horrible, so we're not going to pay attention to it again. It's just atrocious. So, anyway, yeah, we got some little 1x1 tiles, got some little movable toes, all sorts of good stuff. Toe articulation is kind of underappreciated. You'd be surprised how much toe articulation kind of helps with dynamic poses and stuff. It doesn't help so much here because his feet stay pretty much flat all the time, but if it's like custom toes on like an or like a custom foot that sort of sits on the ground with a little more moving parts to it and stuff, you can get some interesting stuff going, especially with toe swivels. Yeah, I like toe swivels. I got toe swivels going on which one is it? It's Phil, I think. As far as the legs are concerned, they're totally CCBS, and I'm just gonna move the arms up here. There's something about these that just seems so janky and so amateurish when I look at them. In the context of the whole silhouette, it's not so bad. I think it has to do with the fact that these are pretty short bones and then kind of a longer one on the lower section, or maybe it's kind of, yeah, I actually think it's equal bones on the bookend sections, and then the middle section is particularly short. I feel like it could be improved. It was like longer up top and then a real short lower section. I don't know. These legs just don't quite work for me. But I do like the thorn design here, or the barb design, spike, whatever you want to call those, because it's replicated on the arms. That's the only reason it's not. I mean, it's just a couple pieces stuck in a CCBS shell, so there's no reason to get excited about it, but it's cool to have some, like, design texture consistency, because it's also on his forearm, like I said. At the very least, I do like how there's some Nika armor on the back here. You got a little minifigure hand. Let me bring my lighting back a little bit. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty good. They come off from time to time, although that's not too much of a concern usually. Overall, I mean, yeah, that's kind of nice, combining some older construction, or I guess you wouldn't really call it construction back in the day, some older Bionicle parts into covering up CCBS shells. Yeah, that's always good. So as you can tell, I'm still being super self-critical on this one. I don't find it to be an extraordinary MOC. I like it overall. I'm satisfied. Like, I'm not gonna go back and change it. But yeah, so anyway, I know this may seem pointless. Like, why'd you reshoot if you're just gonna say the same really negative things about your MOC, but I just felt the need to acknowledge that the reception on this one was actually positive. I think that's important. So anyway, I'm getting into the torso. So the story on the torso, before we actually talk about how it's built exactly. Well, I guess this tells you a little bit about how it's built, what I'm about to mention. The story behind this torso's build and behind this MOC's creation is actually, I was watching Shadowgear's tutorial on his self-MOC Minion. I think it's an outdated version of Minion now. I'm pretty sure Minion has changed a couple times over the past year or so. But anyway, yeah, so I was watching the Minion tutorial, and I built Minion's torso, but it was all in the wrong colors, and obviously I wasn't going to do anything with that design. I just wanted to get an idea of how it was built, learn some new things maybe, and I ended up taking it apart and using the exact same parts for the most part, no pun intended, for the love of God. And built my own torso design with basically the same pieces, and a lot of added ones as well. So yeah, basically the random jumble of non-specific Technic parts that comprises Minion's upper torso is kind of the same as this one. Does it affect the way it looks? Not really. But that's why this MOC exists, so there you go. As far as how the torso actually looks, let me just bring this up a little bit there. I like this V shape going on with these little pieces from Akita. I think those are nice pieces in general. And it sort of works with the spikes, the yellow spikes going out. Like they sort of fan out in a bit of a V shape as well, or maybe more of a Y with them. I don't know. It works. It's some sort of consistent shaping. The Borak eyes in the armpits, that's always a good call in my opinion. One interesting thing is on the back, the little star armor there sort of interlocks with that Paraka foot. By the way, there's a Paraka foot in the skirt. Like, I don't remember why I chose to use that piece. Maybe it's all that fit, but I think that would be something I'd like to change. In terms of the skirt itself, I actually forgot to mention this earlier. I guess we can mention it now since it is part of the torso. It just has an up and down pin swivel, and that's it. But that's easily enough to like compensate like anything you could want to do with the hip. So that's all good. Nice little basic cod piece design. Just a Nanika upper arm armor as the chest. And you get the Bittle head, which I think I even... this is one of the parts I'm most self-critical of, but again, this is why it's important to acknowledge the comments of the slideshow, because I'm pretty sure some people actually mentioned that, like, hey, you actually used it well. And that's so cool that somebody would think that, because I don't think I used it well. I think I just used it, and it's not that good of a head. And it's enormous and ridiculous. And an insectoid MOC is a great opportunity for a cool custom design, and I failed that opportunity. Or I guess not failed it, I just didn't take advantage of it, I suppose would be the proper way to put that. But yeah, so I'm not too pleased with that. Again, I'm probably not going to go back and like change it, but missed opportunity. This whole MOC is a bit of a missed opportunity. I mean, insectoid MOCs, you got such potential for just weird stuff, like looping back to the person I always talk about, Shadowgear, who of course I mentioned earlier. I don't think we can go through a review without me mentioning one of my favorite MOCists at some point. But like his MOC Vespa, especially the newer versions, like that's a great example. And overall, I think that's my biggest disappointment with this MOC, is not that it's bad, it's that I had an insectoid, interesting visual style going on and just didn't do with it what I could have. And now that I'm talking about this, now I'm thinking about revamping them. Even though I said that I probably wouldn't, like it's not to that degree, now I'm questioning it all. So maybe there'll be a new version of Faevo in the future, who knows. In terms of the arms, really basic. Got lots of nice articulation. I mean, nothing special, but bilateral elbow and all the finger stuff that you're used to, and that's his thumb. Where did it? I genuinely don't know where this went. I'm actually oh my god, it's between his toes. What in the heckles? Oh yeah, also real quick, waist joint. Waist joint. It's kind of loose. In fact, his whole torso, like abdominal region, has some bits that like to come apart. But it's there, and waist joints are an endangered species here on the Watching Relic channel, so that is nice. Hey, guess what? I actually remembered the size comparisons. I actually remembered to grab them and not have the part, you know, just in the video. There's some editing, and and thought preparation. How good am I at just doing this? Oh my god. So, yeah, anyway, here we have the size comparison. He's actually a little shorter than your average Bionicle build, which is interesting. And that's really all there is to say. This is a MOC rife with potential, which I may or may not tap in the future. I really can't say at this point. But there's a closer look at him. Hopefully this showed you something. I know I didn't really take too much apart and show you how much is built, but it's a really simple MOC, and I think the main purpose of this video is just kind of get my own thoughts out on him. And thank you very much for watching. This is Faevo, my name is The Watching Relic, and I will see you all next time.